Is your real estate agent a liar? Huh? Am I even allowed to say that? I mean, I'm talking about other real estate agents. Do you love the fact in Australia that we have the great culture of not dobbing on others? Well, I really have a problem with that, especially when I start to see so many customers being upset by real estate agents. So, I'm going to talk to you about two ways that you can find out very early in the relationship if you've got a dodgy agent or a diamond of an agent. G'day, I'm Peter Bender, and I'm a commercial real estate agent. And I consider myself to be a professional. And one of the things I get is I had three this week, three already. And they are people who are telling me about the problems they're having with other agents. And look, it's a sad state of affairs. I remember when I first started commercial real estate about 4 years ago, depending on when you're watching this video, about 4 years ago. And I said to my wife that I'm going to go and start my own commercial real estate agency business. And she put her hands on her hips. She's a very pragmatic woman, wonderfully wise. She says, that puts you second in the hierarchy of people, only to used car salespeople behind you. And I thought, she's right. The figures and statistics on customer satisfaction have 93% of people do not trust their real estate agent. That's shocking. But yeah, 97% of people don't trust their car agent. My response to my wife was, but just imagine how fantastic our business can be if we provide a bit of customer service and some professionalism. And that's what I've built our practice on over the last couple of years. And look, we're kicking goals, and I've got heaps and heaps of happy customers. But I have a lot of what's called refugees. These are people who have been have been lied to, ripped off, whatever you want to call it, from other agents. So I mentioned in the Australian culture, we don't dob on others. It's all about mateship, and I understand that. I get that, and there's going to be a whole heap of people who are going to unlike my video because it's un-Australian. We don't knock others, but I also recognise that we need to be accountable. We need to be professional. If someone's doing something wrong and it's making an effect on others, I'm sure that you would do something about it. If you saw someone you know, defacing a building that's next door and it's your neighbour's place or something, you'd do something about it. So if you're like that, then hit like. Then at least I'll get a few likes compared to all the unlikes. Because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of offended real estate agents because I'm renowned for offending real estate agents, but only the bad ones. But I also know the good ones, and we need to focus on it, creating an industry that people do trust. We're talking about a lot of money for a lot of people, and we need to make sure that you're getting what you want. All right. So, what are some of the things that we can look at? The first area is what I call contact frequency. Every real estate agent will generally answer the phone call the first time. Every real estate agent will generally answer the email the first time, the first inquiry. It's by the time you get the second or third one, you start to quickly work out if you've got someone who's service focused or someone who's sales focused. I've worked in agencies and I've seen a lot of real estate agents, and the biggest criticism I get from clients is they sign me up, I never saw them, never heard from them again, or they don't return my phone calls, or they haven't replied to my email. It's tremendous the amount of people that go in there. People say, Peter, why are you so successful? It's not rocket science. I answer my phone, and if I don't answer the phone, I call them back. If I'm in a meeting, I'm not going to drop the client I'm with to pick up a phone call. The same with the emails. There's very, very few instances that you find I don't get an email reply, within 4 or 6 hours, depending on what's happening. Actually, I like it when I ring up my clients, and so many of them, particularly new ones, oh, thank you for calling me back. It's like, unusual, and it shouldn't be. So if you're not getting those phone calls, you're not getting those emails, yeah, start looking for somebody else. There's plenty of them out there. The other thing I like to hear is I'll ring up someone about an hour later, and they say, "Oh, we're starting to worry because you always ring so quickly back," and we thought, "Oh, have we rung the wrong number?" So that's the type of cool criticisms I get. I ring back in an hour and they think that's a bit late, but they stick with me forever. So the level of customer service is one of the things that's important. Now, recognizing that my competitors and lots of other real estate agents, both commercial as well as residential, are going to look at this and you might say to yourself, Peter, are you a little bit suicidal here? I mean, suddenly everyone's going to be taking care of their phone calls and their emails, and it's going to be much more competitive and harder for you to get work. One of the things that I appreciate in business and being a business minded person is you look for competitive advantages. And most importantly, if you're really clever as a business manager, you look for what's called a strategic competitive advantage. Now, that's something that isn't able to be reproduced quickly. You would think that people could change their behavior and answer a phone and take care of emails pretty quickly, and they should be able to. But what you'll find is that's a cultural change. And as we say in business management, culture eats strategy for breakfast. You can go into your sales reps and say, all right, as of today, we're going to answer every phone call. We're going to answer every Gmail, every email that comes through. And that might be great for a couple of hours, but then you'll find that you can't change the culture of the people. You need to change it from the top. So I'm quite happy to share these 2 points that I have because I know that competitors who struggle in this space are probably going to still struggle in this space after a couple of days of trying to change their behavior. So no, I'm not suicidal. I'm just want to improve the quality of the industry and make sure that you don't get fleeced by someone who really isn't, top caliber. Right. So contacts is the first aspect. The second thing that I want to look at is in regards to paying for advertising. This can be an expensive exercise for a buyer. And this is why I want to share the main part of this video about. Let me tell you what should happen. Now, when you have your real estate agent and you decide that, yep, this is the one to go to, either to sell my business, to sell my property, be it a commercial property or residential property, they will have what's called a listing form. For commercial in Queensland, it's called a Property Occupations Form 6A. Yeah, I don't know why they call that, but that's what it is. It's part to do that. It's linked to the legislation. And on page 5, you'll see this one here. Yeah, it's a bit hard to see, but there's a whole section on the top there which says outline the marketing expenses. By law, what we are supposed to do in Queensland and probably very much across all other areas in other states and even other countries is to itemize the expenses that you're going to charge for marketing. So if you're going to charge them $200 for a big 6 foot sign with a 5 foot picture on yourself, have a look at some of my other videos. I always laugh at real estate agents who have to have a larger than life picture of themselves on their sign. If you're going to charge a customer $200 to make a sign of yourself, you need to itemize it on that. It'll be 5 foot sign of myself, $250, whatever the cost is. If you're going to advertise on real commercial or commercial real estate, it should have, advertising commercial real estate, $585, $430, whatever the price is. If it's going to be advertising on domain or if it's advertising on commercialrealestate.com, it should itemize that. You may find that rather than itemize it all in that little section, particularly for big marketing campaigns, it may have see attached marketing plan. And they may have this glossy little piece of paper that itemizes everything and gives you examples. And that's great. That's what you want to know. The important thing is it should be itemized. Writing something like advertising $400, advertising $2,000 plus $40 a month, advertising $4,000, that just does not cut the mustard, as we say. It needs to be itemized. By law, it needs to be itemized. So if they haven't got it itemized, you should be getting alarm bells going ring, 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 ring. So why is it that they don't do that? Well, we're still running a business and cash flow is tight. Doesn't matter what business you're in. In real estate is no difference as well at all. So quite often, and I do mean quite often, a real estate agent will take your advertising money and will go and use it to pay wages, or they'll go use it to pay their bills, to fill their car, to go to the coffee shop, to take clients out, whatever they do. And they may put some advertising, in there in regards to giving you one or two ads, but it won't be anywhere near that amount. And that's what the legislation's been brought in place for. The government really has cracked down on that area. If you have money, it has to be itemized. And then the next thing that you get is a trust account receipt. Now, what exactly is a trust account receipt? A trust account receipt is in a trust account. A trust account is a government audited bank account, which lawyers have, accountants have, and real estate agents have, car dealers have. A lot of industries have them. And we have to clearly explain and have a strong audit trail on every dollar that we get from a client that goes into a trust account and when it gets dispensed. So I may get, say, $2,000 for a client for advertising, and then I might put out an ad for $600. I then put an entry in my trust account saying, of that $2,000, I spent 600, which leaves 1,400 left. The interesting thing is, my wife takes care of all my trust account stuff because I'm terrible with math. Tell anyone. So my wife takes care of the trust account. But that's how it goes. It's an itemized ledger. So at any time, an auditor can come in and say, all right, how much does Peter Bender Proprietary Limited have in their trust account on behalf of a particular client? Now, on that trust account, it should say who you are, why you spent them, why you've given me money. It's generally is for marketing, and what it's going to be used for, and on behalf of what. It may be for your particular business, Smith and Sons carpentry services, or Joe Blogg's petrol station. It clearly itemizes who that is for, and you should get that trust account receipt within 48 hours of when you put the money across. If you haven't got a trust account receipt in 48 hours, start to think, okay, we have problems here. And give them a call if you get the phone call back and leave a message to them and say, look, I was expecting a trust account receipt on the deposit money that I paid for advertising. You don't need to say anything more than that. Very non confrontational. Even the most quiet and introverted people like me would be able to leave a message or send an email saying, look, I was expecting a trust account receipt for the advertising money that I deposited. Similarly, if you're putting a deposit for a property or a commercial, like, the deposits, particularly in commercial, it can be $250,000. If you don't get that trust account receipt in 2 days, you want to be panicking. You want to be getting onto your lawyer and saying, oi, oi, get onto this real estate agent, find out where the money is and find it out fast. So that's the two areas that we looked at. So we're looking at in regards to how often they contact you, if they return your phone calls, especially after the second phone call, you may find that, it's going to be too hard to work with this client. You might be classed as a high maintenance client by that person, and they're just not going to go for you. They're going to go for an easy sale. And the second thing is, have they itemized your marketing and have they given you a trust account? I hope this helps you to identify very quickly in the relationship if you've got a good agent. And there's plenty of us good agents out there. Unfortunately, like most things in life, the small ones get a lot of bad advertising, and importantly so, but they broad brush it across the whole industry. So help me clean up the industry. If you're not getting good service from your agent and you're not getting a trust account and an itemization of your advertising and your deposits, then do something about it. If you don't like to address the agent themselves, in Queensland there's an Office of Fair Trading. Just give them a call. Say, this is what I got, and let them do the phone call for you and the email for you, or even the REIQ and other industries across. Because we need to let it be known that there are people out there doing the wrong things, and that's just not that's not appropriate. Because when you look at it from a cultural point of view of not dobbing, I have to recognize that those clients who are doing the wrong thing and using money for fuel, for paying their rent, paying their wages, whilst we think that's okay, but they have an unfair competitive advantage against people like me who do the right thing. So I'm sorry if you're a real estate agent, you give me a thumbs down. But if you find value in this, then give me a thumbs up and hit subscribe. All right. If you need any questions or want something else to be explained or exposed, hey, I'm all for it. All right. Take care and God bless.